One of the crown jewels over at Paramount for many years, 31 years, I want to say, has been Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, who launched their Mission Impossible series back in like 1992. It's still going to this day. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning just came out last year. They got Mission Impossible 8 coming out next year. But something big has happened. Something has shaken over at Paramount. Warner Brothers has stolen Tom Cruise from Paramount. Tom Cruise is returning to Warner Brothers, forms new strategic movie partnership. This comes to us from Deadline. And here's what they had to say about this. They said, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and the Motion Picture Group co-chairs and CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abney have hammered out a new strategic partnership deal with Tom Cruise that takes effect this year. The $13 billion grossing star and producer will develop and produce original and franchise theatrical titles, which he'll star in. Cruise and his production company will have an office on the Burbank, California lot. The last time Cruise starred in a Warner Brothers movie was the 2014 science fiction film The Edge of Tomorrow. Great film. And it's one of eight titles he's made with the studio, including Rock of Ages, The Last Samurai, Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut, Interview with the Vampire, Risky Business, and The Outsiders. All right, so Tom Cruise is moving over to Warner Brothers. So let's talk about this really quick. The fact that we got Tom Cruise now going over to Warner Brothers, they've got an exclusive deal with him for him to make original content and franchises. Great. That is awesome. I enjoy a Tom Cruise picture. I mean, he definitely isn't someone who just blows up the box office because it's Tom Cruise anymore. I mean, his Jack Reacher franchise, that didn't really go anywhere. Edge of Tomorrow did pretty decently, but it had a pretty bad marketing campaign when it came out. Has since gone on to be beloved. And another thing with him moving over to Warner Brothers is there is the possibility now that we're going to get Edge of Tomorrow 2. Now, they've been trying to get Edge of Tomorrow 2 done for a while now. They just can't get all the stars and the directors' schedules all in line with Emily Blunt, Tom Cruise. And so they're trying, but this does give them more of an advantage now that they're over there, that they could just make a Edge of Tomorrow 2. Now, Tom Cruise, I don't know how much of a creative he is. I'm sure he's pretty creative if they're going to give him this deal. But the fact that we're going to get original content, original franchises from him, that sounds awesome to me. Sign me up for more Tom Cruise stunts and craziness. This is a madman that I love to watch on screen. But there's a part of this story, someone in this story is not happy. And someone in this story is severely hurt. And that someone is Paramount. Now, this comes to us from The Wrap. This comes to us from this Business Insiders. Now, the first question that this kind of brought up was, what does this mean for Mission Impossible? What does this mean for Tom Cruise's, mega franchise over at Paramount? This is what The Wrap had to say about how all of this affects what Tom Cruise is doing with Mission Impossible. They said, does Paramount lose its most valuable franchise, Mission Impossible? The short answer is no. With Cruise as its star, the franchise has produced $4.1 billion in global box office for Paramount from 1996 to 2023, according to Box Office Mojo. And another Cruise extravaganza, Top Gun Maverick, has grossed $1.5 billion globally since its release in 2022. But it's a two-edged sword for Paramount. While the studio owns the rights to Mission Impossible, Cruise has effective control over the IP as long as he is the star and producer. Paramount has long wanted to create other content based on the Mission Impossible, whether for Paramount Plus, CBS Television, or short-form content, perhaps with some cast members from the film series, but Cruise has made sure it's a theatrical-only experience. So, now that Tom Cruise is over at Warner Brothers, Paramount doesn't just get to do whatever they want with Mission Impossible still. He still holds on to those rights, even though he is now at this other studio. But there's another reason why this really hurts Paramount. Paramount is in the position right now where they are looking to be acquired. They're looking for an acquisition. They're looking for someone to buy them out. Paramount, they're a little hurting with money, and they need someone to come buy them. And now they've lost their biggest asset to being bought. This also comes to us from The Wrap. This is what they had to say. The move appears to weaken Paramount and strengthen Warner Brothers Discovery in any negotiation over acquisition, which has been the talk of Hollywood in recent weeks. With Cruise going to Warner Brothers, Paramount has lost a central asset in its appeal to any buyer, its 3-decade relationship with the star. In principle, Cruise being based at Warner makes Paramount less desirable to strategic buyers other than Warner Brothers Discovery. That's a very interesting thing right there. Goes on to say, would Apple buy Paramount without the prospect of a relationship with Cruise? Is Zaslav simply flexing by stealing Paramount's biggest star while in the middle of negotiations? So one of the things that's interesting here is it says, in principle, Cruise being based at Warner's makes Paramount less desirable to strategic buyers other than Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, the reason why that is very interesting here with this whole thing with Tom Cruise being brought over to Warner Brothers is Paramount is right now in negotiations with studios to be acquired. And a big rumor going around even before this Tom Cruise, buyout happened is that Warner Brothers Discovery was looking to buy Paramount or was interested in getting Paramount. So what the wrap here is suggesting is that not only is this a strategic move by Warner Brothers Discovery to get this major star on their side, get his projects, get his mind, get his stunts that bring people into the movie theater and bring the money over to Warner Brothers, but now the fact that the rumor is that Warner Brothers is interested in getting Paramount, by taking this away from Paramount and weakening their position during the negotiations with other studios, essentially making the other studios walk away, this might position Warner Brothers into Paramount just kind of throwing up the hands and being like, well, Warner Brothers, you're the only people that want us now that we don't have Tom Cruise, so I guess you're going to acquire us. Which is interesting in the article. It talks about how David Zaslav, he's an old Hollywood mind. He may be thinking that way. Obviously, I don't know David Zaslav in life, and but if he's willing to do tax write-offs for these movies that he doesn't believe in, I could see his mind working in this way. But regardless of the loss that this is for Paramount, and it is a big loss for Paramount, this is great for Warner Brothers. I think this is great for Tom Cruise. Even this seems to give him such creative freedom and so much control over his future projects. I think this is really going to flex him as a creative. I can't imagine how happy he is. I think he's a really great, not just action star, but just great actor in general. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he and Warner Brothers produce from this plan. Well, thank you very much for checking out this clip from our live show that we do every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called Zach Milne Talks Live. If you like talking movies, if you like talking movie news, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave? We do that on this channel all the time. But if you still need some time before you fully commit, you can check out the full video this clip is from right here, and you can check out another video over here. The subscribe button's right here.